So I wrote this book called Welcome to the Fifth Estate, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about citizen media and how we can affect change. My big goal tonight is hopefully leaving you with the belief that you can make this happen, if you believe. So one of the things that we have seen in the modern era with social media is that almost everybody feels like they could do something, right? They could tweet about their burritos or they could talk about anything. But there are folks like Malcolm Gladwell that think that you can't affect change with online tools or grassroots activism. And in reality, Mr. Gladwell is very, very wrong. We've seen this now proven. We have seen revolutions occur, and we see it today in the Middle East. So anybody here watch the Tunisian or Egyptian revolutions? Was that cool or what? It was pretty cool. And I liked watching it too, because I thought it really showed that the world can change if we come together and do it. And one of the things that people don't talk a lot about with those things is that the Tunisians and the Egyptians were talking to each other, and they were organizing on Facebook and Twitter and on blogs and in private meetups, face-to-face, just like us today, for 2 years prior to those revolutions. So they worked hard to make them happen. They were faceless revolutions. Now, of course, when they happened, everybody said, Twitter can't topple dictatorships, that they can't cause revolutions. And they're somewhat right, because it's people like you and me that make that happen. We use those tools to affect change. And you can use those tools to affect change. Since then, ensuing results have not fared as well, and that's because the autocratic regimes in the Middle East have figured out what people are doing, and so now they're literally torturing people to get access to their Facebook accounts and put dissidents in jail. But changes can occur, just like they did in the French Revolution. It was a little slower back then, but it was the exact same thing. It was the exact same thing, and it was a media-fueled event back in the French Revolution. That was the Fourth Estate. Today, the Fourth Estate is still active, right? We have watchdog media. There's no greater example than Richard Nixon, of course, right, and the Washington Post, at least to us as in America. But, you know, in the current media environment, the journalism that we see today is nowhere near as strong. You know, and there are less journalists, and they're younger, and there's just fewer stories. So that means that there's a tighter control over the stories that are out there. In some countries, there's complete control over the stories, and that means we need a rise in citizen media. And that means any single person with a mobile phone can become a reporter. And if you think I'm lying, anybody remember when that plane went down on the Hudson? Those photos were shot by a guy like you and me out on the wing of that plane. That's Andy Carvin. He does a great job of citizen reporting, and he did a fantastic job with the Middle East. A lot of people talk about influence with these tools, social media tools, like you have to be an influencer, right? You have to be a big blogger. And that's not true. That's BS. You get influence for doing things. You don't get influence by being a loud voice. More often than not, influence is rewarded to people that were a part of something. So this guy here is Wael Ghonim. He's part of the Facebook revolution in Egypt. And now he's writing a book called Revolution 2.0. He became influential after the fact. He was nobody beforehand. And that proves the weak ties theory in my mind. Weak ties is basically folks like you and me talking in our little circles, and sometimes we have tangents, and when there's a commonality, a common interest, we grow strong together and we break things open. And that's contrary to what Gladwell said. He thought you had to be a connector or a big influencer, and then it trickles down to a maven and a salesperson. Not true. Not true at all. And I think that's something I really, really hope you leave here today with. Knowing that you can build relationships that can affect change in your own immediate circles. You can build your own Fifth Estate movement, just like they did in Egypt. I think that's the Khalid page, if I'm right. I don't want to read the slide, but that was one of the Facebook pages. But that page was the Wael Ghonim page, which was inspired by the April 6th youth movement, none of who we know their names. But these were the ones that started in 2009 with the guys in Tunisia. They're the ones that broke it open. Anybody can make this happen in their own particular issue, in their own particular way. And that means that weak ties have magic. You know, we're the folks in that yellow part of that long tail, but together we're very strong. We're bigger than the head of that tail, the blue tail, the power structure. So some takeaways for you, and I'm not going to read all that, but the primary thing is that you can make a huge, big difference, and that influence isn't something that's appointed. Influence is something that occurs through your actions. That's something that each and every one of us can do every single day, is to be influential in somebody's life and make a big difference. And if you have kids, you know that's true. And so with that, I wish you luck as you go out to affect change for Baltimore. Thank you.